Welcome back. David Hertel in for Elias. Montrealers want to revitalize the city's East End, carrying out projects and taking concrete actions to mobilize a part of the city that has for long felt left out, but which represents 10% of the entire province's population and has a huge potential to contribute to the socio-economic development of Montreal and Quebec, calling on businesses, organizations, and citizens in the East End to contribute to the development of the metropolis. To discuss further, I'm joined in studio by Jean-Denis Charest. He's the president and CEO of the Chambre de commerce de l'Est de Montréal. Jean-Denis, thank you so much for coming in this morning.
Hi, David. Thanks for having me.
So why is this the right time to get this going? Because for a long time, the East End has been suffering. I remember when I was in government, I mean, there were announcements, big programs, then the first Legault mandate, also big-time announcements, but it never seems to get cracking. What's the issue here?
I think the main challenge to start with was transit. For years, the east end of Montreal was isolated from the rest of the island. And this is really where you need to start. And I think that in the next 5 to 10 years, that will change. We've got the Blue Line, 5 stations of metro that are currently
under construction.
And that's major. Plus the REM de l'Est, which we're hoping to have the final report from the leaders that are currently working on it by the end of the month. So I think that we've been talking for the revitalization for 30 years.
Oh, yeah.
But we never really had the lever to succeed. And I think that with those major projects, finally we can dream of doing it. And those projects needs to happen. And it's going to allow us also to make use of the land that is currently contaminated. Because if we have transit getting there, it makes more sense to work and to develop those land. But what we were discussing among the leaders of the East, from social, environmental, every sphere of society, was there's another ingredient that we need to have. And over the years, people have been I think pessimistic because things didn't happen, and it created a spirit within the population that people don't trust it's going to happen. And if you look elsewhere in the world, area that succeeded, they had the commitment of the government that provided the right infrastructure to make sure the potential could be used. But you also had a civil society which was trusting in its future. And we felt we needed a little push to mobilize the whole civil society and propose a new deal to the government. Do your part and we will do ours.
Okay, so let me go back a bit because, again, the funniest thing about talking about this, I love the East End. I was an M&A in the East End.
Yeah.
Even before that, when I was in the Olympic Park, I was on the board of the organization you lead now. And as you say, we've been talking about this for decades. And I remember when I was environment minister, I did an announcement in the East End with then your predecessor, Christine Fréchette, who is now the immigration minister for the CEQ government. And we were talking about decontamination and hundreds of millions of dollars that were available to decontaminate. And the CEQ government, to be fair, re-upped that and added even more money. Yet I think today that money is not even half spent. So the money's there. As you said, Blue Line is happening right now. That came from our previous government, but the CEQ continued it. The REM is going to happen eventually. I mean, there's still a lot of questions about where it's going to go, but it seems that it's going to happen. So what's missing here?
Well, first of all, things have to be confirmed. So the REM de l'Est is the project.
That's the thing.
That's the thing that needs to be announced. And people need to be sure it's going to happen. I don't doubt at all the commitment from the government. And I'm hoping that this is going to be what will propulse the East End development. Once you know that you have such a major transit infrastructure, investor will come. Build it and they will come, they say. And I think that we needed such a project. That's why it's so important in the Chambre, and many leaders in the East End keeps asking for it. In terms of the land, we've seen what happened in Bécancour. Bécancour is a major success. And I believe the East End of Montreal can be the next Bécancour. We're not going to develop exactly what it did there, but we can inspire ourselves and be a bit more entrepreneurial in our approach in order to take the Rem de l'Est as an opportunity to develop those lands, but that's going to call for a different approach, a more entrepreneurial approach, and that's why we didn't want it to make a summit and just let's talk and look at data and everything. No, we want action. Now it's time for action, and that's what we're calling the civil society to do, but same thing for the government. We need to be on the ground doing those projects.
Now, you're bringing all the players together with the summit and this mobilization, and I agree with you. It's the thing to do, absolutely. It has to come from the base. If it doesn't come from the ground up, I mean, it's not going to work. But what does the private sector specifically tell you? I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of enthusiasm, like you said. I mean, Bécancour with the whole EV hub and the batteries, the electric vehicle batteries, that whole transition hub is really taking root in Bécancour and in Trois-Rivières. So is there an idea of what kind of sectors could be home for the East End?
Well, the East End is huge, but currently there's a lot of people working on health innovation zone, which is one of the great expertise that we have in the East End, which is closer to l'Hôpital Maisonneuve-Rosemont, l'Institut de Cardiologie. So here we have a huge hub that could be built. If you go a bit more east, dans la zone industrielle de la Pointe de l'Île, we've got a lot of industry, energy, clean tech, and there we have land that are 5 million square feet. It's huge land, and you don't find that quality of land anywhere in the country next to a port. So if we could at some point leverage those land and maybe bring some innovation, clean technology, we could really develop there a zone of creating new employment, but also having an impact on the industry that are currently there and improve their environmental impact. And there, if we can do that, we could really generate social, economical, and environmental value. And right now, Mr. Hurtel, there's a shortage of industrial land. So the context has changed. We're going to have huge transportation infrastructure. I think now is the time. And when I talk to the investor, what I hear is, maybe it's time now to take back what we looked 4, 5, 6 years ago that didn't work, because maybe now is the time. And that's what we're going to do, try to bring those guys to invest in the East End and have major social, environmental, and economical impact.
Well, I hope you're successful, because if we can finally get the East End going, everybody's going to benefit. I mean, Montreal, the entire province, and I wish you all the best, and I hope you keep us informed about the developments on this, and I really, really wish you all the best, and I thank you for coming on today.
Thanks a lot.
Jean-Denis Charest, President and CEO of the Chambre de commerce de l'Est de Montréal.